Good evening and welcome to Poland Daily. I'm Nicholas Richardson and this is the news. The crisis in the largest opposition party, Civic Platform, has entered a new phase. After having lost almost half of their support in opinion polls over the last few months, and standing at only 12% in some recent polls, the party is now fracturing from within. On Friday, its chairman, Boris Budka, expelled two important MPs from the party's Conservative wing, Irenis Raz and Paweł Zalewski, for criticising the party. Yesterday, influential MEP Róża Tun announced that she's leaving the party due to poor choices made by the party's leadership. Today, the party's MPs will meet for a discussion on what can be done to salvage the party. Civic Platform is currently in freefall and faces mounting internal criticism for lacking leadership, a political programme and new ideas. On Friday, its chairman, Boris Budka, expelled two important MPs, Irenis Raz and Paweł Zalewski, for criticising the party's lack of strategy. Yesterday, heavyweight MEP Róża Tun announced that she is leaving in protest against the party's decision to abstain on the vote in Parliament when the National Recovery Plan was passed a couple of weeks ago. I believe that the politicians who want to remain in the party can't face the reality, which is that their popularity is tanking. They instead look for the best possible polls from recent weeks and talk about them instead. I don't think that the party will splinter, rather some MPs will leave for other parties. The issue of whether Boris Budka should resign will be discussed when the party leadership meets tonight. What's happening in the party is a consequence of their loss of support in opinion polls, which we have been observing for a couple of months now, but the process has sped up even more recently. These internal tensions and external pressures can explain the turmoil which now rocks the party at its core. At the meeting, the deputy chairman of the party and mayor of Warsaw, Rafał Trzaskowski, will present his vision for his Common Poland movement. Many in the party fear that the new movement will splinter the party in two. Polls today commemorate the 77th anniversary of the taking of Monte Cassino during the Italian campaign of the Second World War. With their heroism and tremendous sacrifice, the Polish soldiers from the Anders army managed to capture the Benedictine Abbey located on a hilltop. The abbey served as a strong point of the defensive Gustav Line, which for months had blocked the Allied advance towards Rome. At the cost of more than 1,200 casualties, the Poles from the Second Corps finally managed to capture the heavily fortified position. A commemoration ceremony at the site was attended by the Polish Defence Minister, Mariusz Błaszczak, and the Polish ambassador to Italy, and the daughter of General Anders, Anna Maria Anders. Because of the pandemic, the ceremony had to be held in a scaled-down form. Chile's long-standing political parties suffered a bruising defeat in an election for delegates to rewrite the constitution that has sowed doubts over their future, as well as the fate of the country's free market model. New socialist and outright communist forces will now play a key role in writing the new constitution. The ruling centre-right coalition failed during the weekend vote to pick up the one-third of seats necessary to block radical changes during the convention. And the centre-left, which has dominated politics since Chile's return to democracy in 1990, garnered less support than leftists who have been pushing for the wholesale change to the Chilean model that has been credited with creating booming growth but also fomenting deep inequality. President Sebastián Piñera said his government and other traditional political parties should heed the loud and clear message that they had not adequately responded to the needs of citizens.
En estas elecciones, la ciudadanía nos ha enviado un claro y fuerte mensaje.
In these elections, the citizens have sent the government and all the traditional political forces a loud and clear message. We are not adequately tuned into the citizens' demands and wishes, and we are being challenged by new expressions and new leaderships.
De la ciudadanía. Y estamos siendo interpelados por nuevas expresiones y por nuevos liderazgos.
The weekend vote to pick 155 citizens to rewrite the constitution was born out of fierce protests that erupted over inequality and elitism in October 2019, with the current constitution widely perceived to favour big business over the rights of ordinary citizens. The two-day weekend election of 155 delegates who will draft the Magna Carta follows widespread protests in 2019 that led to billions of dollars in losses and damages in cities throughout Chile. Chile's peso plunged on Monday and its IPSA stock exchange took a sharp hit after President Sebastián Piñera's Vamos por Chile coalition flopped. Delegates are set to meet shortly to define the rules of the process and will then spend a maximum 12-month period debating and crafting the new text before Chileans vote on the final product. If it fails, Chile will revert to the current text. The presidents of Western Balkan countries have gathered in the Slovenian town of Brdo pri Kranju on Monday to discuss the region's EU integration process in an annual summit chaired by the EU members Slovenia and Croatia. Slovenia will soon take over the rotating presidency of the Council of the European Union and has declared a speedy path to EU membership for Albania and North Macedonia as one of its top priorities. Slovenia's Borut Pahor and Croatia's Zoran Milanovic were joined for the conference by the presidents of Albania, Kosovo, Montenegro, North Macedonia, Serbia and the members of Bosnia's inter-ethnic presidency. Pahor urged the European Union to view the region as a whole and accelerate the integration processes of Slovenia's non-EU member neighbours. The Slovenian president called on the EU to speed up the process of admitting the 6 countries of the Western Balkans to the bloc, calling it a crucial step for the preservation of stability in the region. We demand that the EU looks at the Western Balkans as a whole, not only as individual countries that demand something from Europe, but we demand that the entire European Union and the European Community and the European Parliament see it as one entity. This has not been the case so far, we concluded. This is the first time that we have called on the European Union to see our region as a whole. Secondly, we demand that Brussels' views on this region be geopolitical. It must be geopolitical. The area is surrounded by EU countries. If the EU does not take that into account, there will be a gap here. Milanovic said Slovenia and Croatia were here to help countries which previously made up Yugoslavia integrate into the European Union. There were disputes, misunderstandings. For example, the agenda of Kosovo's President Osmani was somewhat more ambitious on Kosovo-Serbia talks, but also due to Serbia's opposition, some parts of the document had to be dropped. I see this as a perfectly reasonable price for a document that is good. Namely, Slovenia and Croatia are here to help countries that are, first of all, primarily in the integration process, in a phase in which we were 15 or 20 years ago. Serbia and Montenegro are membership candidates, while Bosnia and Kosovo, Serbia's now independent former southern province, lag far behind. Bulgaria refuses to allow North Macedonia, another ex-Yugoslav republic, to move ahead in its EU bid, citing language and cultural disputes. Albania, which is also a part of the Western Balkans region, but which was not part of Yugoslavia, became a candidate in 2014. Spanish troops have started patrolling the border with Morocco in the Spanish enclave of Ceuta after more than 6,000 migrants managed to breach the border on Monday. Morocco has withdrawn its border guards in order to punish Spain for giving treatment against COVID-19 to the president of the Sahrawi Arab Democratic Republic, which is fighting against Morocco for self-determination in Western Sahara. Video footage showed soldiers at Tarial beach trying to keep migrants at the beach as some swam to shore and others made their way round the fence on the breakwater that marks the border. A spokesman for Ceuta's government delegation said that the soldiers will work with police in sensitive locations within the enclave to maintain order on the streets. As many as 6,000 Moroccans, including about 1,500 minors, have entered Ceuta in the past 24 hours, according to Spanish Interior Minister Fernando Grande Marlaska. The adult arrivals are being transferred to a local football stadium to be handed back to Morocco, but it is uncertain whether Morocco will take them in. Minors are being sent to an industrial building. The Spanish enclaves of Ceuta and nearby Melilla on Morocco's northern coast have long been a magnet for African migrants trying to reach Europe. The arrival of the migrants took place at a time of increased tension between Spain and Morocco over the fate of Brahim Ghali, the leader of Western Sahara's Polisario Front, who is in hospital in Spain. Spain's Prime Minister, Pedro Sánchez, says that he will continue to view Morocco as an important partner. As Prime Minister of the Government of Spain, I have always regarded Morocco as a partner, a friend to Spain, and it should continue to be so. Caring for our relationship has always been part of Spain's foreign policy and of my government, and it should continue to be like that. Our desire, like that of every Spaniard, is to make this relationship of friendship with our Moroccan neighbours even closer. Morocco's foreign ministry issued a strongly worded statement last month deploring what it said was the decision of Spain to admit Ghali under a false identity without informing Morocco, adding that the situation would have repercussions for relations between the countries. Prime Minister Sánchez is now under pressure to reassure Spaniards that he will take measures to protect the country's borders. In December, the United States recognised Moroccan sovereignty over the Western Sahara territory, which is also claimed as an independent state by the Polisario Front. The recognition was made in return for Morocco recognising Israel as a state. That's the news. Thank you for watching. Stay with us for the weather, Poland Daily Business and more programmes. But from me, it's have a good night and a better tomorrow.